Quick mic check. Just a quick check of the microphone. Okay, that's working. Right. So. Okay. It's been a while. Hello, people. We have recently released the Leafcutter update, which seems to have been, on the whole, well received, which is good, because it took us a long time to get there. Of course, if you are around in the chat, you're welcome to ask me questions about the Leafcutter update, about anything really. But today I'm going to be focusing mostly on Leafcutters and Freeplay. So that's why we're back streaming, because we're back working on Freeplay. Didn't want to give away spoilers whilst working on the Leafcutter update, so long hiatus there. But here we are again. Here we are again. So, I asked on the forums recently about stuff that people would like to see in Freeplay. And I got a fair few responses, but I think I've kind of whittled it down to a short list of things that I want to get in. We'll have a quick look at that list now. Before I do anything else, I should probably post this on social media just so people know. So I haven't announced I'm streaming at all or anything. I wanted to get slowly back into it rather than rush back into it. One second. And on Facebook. Right. Okay. So let's take a look at the list. Okay, so it's not a particularly big list here. I've tried to keep it small, but quite a few of these tasks are going to be a little bit are quite involved. So this is what I'm going to be focusing on the first pass of the new Freeplay. I can't do too much today. I have to be careful with what I do because we've still got another build to get out with the bug fixes before before we do move on to Freeplay properly. But I'll start to get the Leafcutters in, so I'll start this first one today. Then hopefully we can do a few more streams next week, and we'll get lots of new stuff in. Okay, so the first thing we're going to be looking at is getting Leafcutters into Freeplay. So mostly it's going to be looking at things like the refuse and the fungus, because these are things that haven't been in Freeplay before, and they need to restore in the same way that they did on the other in the other. They need to restore fully, so they need to save and load. That's what's most different about Freeplay. Another game modes is things need to save and load. So 2 new types of leaf landmark in Freeplay. I want to look at them having creatures defend them as well in the later game. So we'll see about that. Option to disable creature-to-creature combat. So that's basically make it so creatures aren't wiping each other out on the surface. That will massively up the difficulty. New Ubers, obviously. Tiered enemies. Now, what I mean by this is like you'll be able to get level 2 enemies, level 3 enemies. So basically, in order to make the game harder, we don't just need to throw more and more enemies at you. We'll start to make the enemies more difficult as time goes on. Victory conditions. So this will give people a reason. Ones that are people that are very objective based, who like to play objective based games. This will give them a reason to jump into Freeplay. So you'll be able to win a Freeplay game. Organised enemy attacks. So I'm not quite sure how we want to do this one yet, but this was mentioned on the forum, and the idea is that enemies build up on the surface and then all attack you at once. Maybe this will be an option that goes in along with disabling creature-to-creature combat. But we'll see. We'll discuss that when we get there. It's quite far down the list. Pre-set up scenarios. So at the minute on Freeplay, you have the issue where you click the button and you're overwhelmed with a lot of information all of a sudden, and people don't really know what all the options mean, and they haven't got time, can't be bothered to read through each tooltip. So I want a way of just having scenarios that have just got a name and they're all pre-set up for you. Maybe you can choose your colony to go into but it's basically just a pre-set up. We probably have victory conditions related to them as well, so that'll probably tie in with that. And basically there'll be a Freeplay choose a scenario or the advanced setup, which is what you see now, and then finally a new map. So that'll be towards the end of setting all this up, because I want to again we'll have to discuss what the new environmental threat will be in the new map, but I want to have everything else in place so we can make proper use of the new map with all this new functionality. So that's the initial plan for a Freeplay update. It's not set in stone, so we can alter things as we go along, but we'll see as we get there. So anyway, the first things first is I aim to try and get Leafcutters into Freeplay. So this is an option that I'm going to have to disable before I make the build, because this will be half done, and then we'll have to make a build to fix the bugs that have come up. I'm hoping to do that tomorrow, and hopefully get that out tomorrow. After a very short testing period. But we shall see. Okay, so without further ado, let's jump into the engine. Okay, so the first thing I want to do, if I'm going to get Leafcutters in, is we want the ability to select them from the UI. So let's just have a look for the Freeplay. I think it's called Freeplay setup. Yeah, there it is. And this is the new Freeplay setup screen that was introduced with was introduced with the Leafcutter update. You're right, Expert Archer 11. Good to have you with us. Okay, so we're talking it's a colony species here. Here are the options that we have on colony species. So what I'll do is I will bin the Leafcutter option just before I make the build. I should probably write that down, else it'll still be there and people will be trying it and it'll crash. There's my pad. So this will be a list of things for me to undo before I make the build tomorrow. Remove Leafcutter option from Freeplay, which is something I'm about to add. Okay, so that will have added it into the menu. However, I've now got to look at when we start the game, what actually happens when stuff's added into the menu. So not everything's commented here. Okay, so I think this is, yeah, so that's the start button there. This is everything that happens when the start button's pressed. That looks like something that's no longer used. Ah, yeah, I remember this. Some of this actually is changes because we're introducing language options. So, for example, here I just had it so it was that text there. It was set to the text from the options. However, because it's language options, I've had to switch that for numbers because obviously the text isn't going to be the same in each language. So this is the setup. We're looking really for a reference to this, so I can actually probably just find references. Okay, so there's a reference here. Okay, so it's looking at the options that you've selected. So the option that we're talking about is option 3. And that's talking about this. This is because of the species option. So, okay, coming back to the chat for a sec. It'll be interesting to see them in Freeplay. Yep, be good to get them in Freeplay. Love the Leafcutters comments in Freeplay. Yeah. We're beginning the work now to get them in. We're beginning from very much from a user perspective. So I've thought where the user is going to select the Leafcutter option there. We've gone into that point and we'll follow that route down all the way through. So we're following that thread. So they've selected the option, which is this. So if they've selected Leafcutters, we indeed need to do a branch. That's the warning to see if it's not selected. Okay, so at the minute, the unit option is very much only set up to do wood ants. What I'm going to do is, because we have it set up in the level setup dialog, I will copy what we do from there. Formicarium level setup. That's the one. So this is the dialogue you use when you're selecting a species. So as you see, they appear to be wood ants there. However, if you select if the level is Leafcutters, gate mission, lost focus. Difficulty. So this is probably part of the construction. Again, it's much easier if I just find references to it. Okay, so that looks like something that's not used back there. So it's on state change. Yeah, these aren't actually used, so I'm just going to get rid of that. Every now and again there's some code that's just lying around that isn't used because of speed or whatever. So let me just get rid of that. I actually think it might be, yeah, here. So this is the thing that sets it up. So if it's a leafcutter mission, this text is set, and this does the styles. Okay, so here we have a couple of styles for the buttons set up. Well, it's just a one. I can just find it. Is it a local variable? Yeah, there it is. See if I can copy it from here and just take it into Freeplay, into the Freeplay setup. I'm not sure it was going to let me do that. Nope. Okay. Let's have a look at the buttons themselves. Find them. It's got unit option A and unit option B or something like that. Tick boxes. There we are. So style, I think. Set style. Because the way this works, you'll be able to select Leafcutter or Wood Ant, and it should change the style of the buttons respectively. Just call me Archer, it'll be easier. Okay, Archer. So it's going to make an amazing job with the whole gathering system and how the food converts to available points to expand the Leafcutters. Felt so realistic, and the animations and how the cast behaves awesome. Thanks very much. There was quite a lot of work in the Leafcutter update. I actually think it took longer than it definitely took longer than we thought it would. I think we actually need to improve our efficiency. Coming up with stuff, diversity of how they play. Yeah, definitely. They're my favourite, I think, to play now. Yeah, it'd be good. It'll be good when we get them into Freeplay, because it'll give people a chance to play them a bit more. Okay, so widget style, promote to variable. Let's make one called Leafcutter. Leafcutter button style. I also want to make one for the Wood Ant. Okay, so these, if I compile that, I should get some default values. Yeah. So basically I should be able to just copy that from copy. Okay, so that's the Leafcutter one done. The Wood Ant one, I'm going to actually have to copy from the buttons themselves. So for style, look for style. There it is. Cool. Okay, so there we got the two different styles there. This is purely changing that button when you switch to the Leafcutters. So I also need to make it change to the wood ant one if you switch to the wood ants. So we're going to need some more space for this. So I'm going to bring all this stuff down here. Actually, yeah, this is not where we need to edit this. These are fine. This is just when you press the start game button. I don't want to change that at the minute. In fact, the Leafcutters can plug into the same one as the wood ants, because all that's doing is adding the unit option into the check. We need to get a hot drink soon. Violent intent. I was going to say violent in turn then. You're right, violent intent. Thanks very much. We've still got a way to go before we've finished it, but we'll keep working on it. Okay, so we've got, yeah, so I need to look into when you switch the colony species over. This is where we need to look into this really. So let's look for references for this. On selection change. Okay, so this is that. So I'll bring this that I was looking at down here. So it's setting those buttons enabled there, but I also want to. So you see it disables them on the black ants, enables them on the wood ants. Because there's no option for the black ants. But I also need to set style. Wrong link. So I'm going to set the styles before. So this is literally changing those icons image to be this is to the wood ant. So if you've selected Leafcutters and then go back, it'll still work. So it's setting those styles to the wood ants button style. And now I need to do the same for the Leafcutter. In fact, it's going to be exactly the same for the Leafcutter. And then we'll give that a test, just to make sure it's working. So this one, Leafcutter button style. It's not just that though as well. I also need to set the tooltip text. Right. Will you guys be adding termites as playable in the future? I know it got the votes when it was voted for on Twitter a while ago. Yeah, those Kickstarter goals, and we've actually still got a few of those to get in. So yeah, if it was a Kickstarter promise, it will be delivered at some point. That's all I'm saying. Question: will we get the same ants in the Challenge 3 at some point in the future? Will we get the same ants in Challenge 3 at some point in the future? What do you mean, Archer? What do you mean the same ants? Oh, I see. You're talking about the trapjaws and the army ants. I'm not. We haven't made all the final decisions yet, so we're gonna we'll be reviewing stuff like that soon. We know where we want the storyline to go. However, some of in the Formicarium, the storyline there, we did have a rough idea of where we wanted to take the missions as well, but a few of those ideas have gone a bit up in the air at the minute because we were opening discussions again with each other about what we want to do there. So at the minute, it's undecided, is what I'll say. But the Army Ant Majors are strong. They are very strong. And I wonder if you put them in the Formicarium, if you give them to a player, I think they might just be completely overpowered. As a player, you can kind of work around them when the computer's only doing basic things. So you can back off when they've got high rage or frenzy, I think I called it. However, I think a player would be able to make use of them to the extent where they'd be completely overpowered. But we'll see. We will see. Okay, so I wanted to test this, but before I do, I might just slip in the text as well. So I can bring the text from the Formic level setup as well. I want to be careful with this because I would like to use the exactly the same text again. So what I'm going to do, copy those over into, but I'll make sure they've got the same key. What is it? It's on here. Key ending with BO. Yeah, see, it hasn't got the same key at the minute. I'm wondering if I copy the key, whether it no, it hasn't saved the key. I'm going to jot this down because this is text which can be reused from elsewhere, and I am not the person that has put the localization stuff in, so I will ask Matt about this. I also want to bring in a couple of these for the wood ants as well. In fact, these should already be set on the button, so I'll just copy the text from there at the minute. But again, I'm going to need to find out about this. Oh, I'm going to need to find out about this text so it gets localized properly. Okay, question. Will we be seeing any Alate casts in the future? I can't comment on plans for the future because at the minute they're a bit fluid. Hello there, Real Demon on Twitch. Demon on Twitch. Real Demon on Twitch. Okay, so this is the wood ant stuff. So basically I am setting the unit option A and B. So there's A. So set tooltip text. And B, set tool text. It's amazing the amount of stuff you got to remember to do when you change, when you're adding something in. This is just in the UI at the minute as well. Before we even touched any of the game stuff. Okay, so I probably could have just used a string literal, but I'm going to get Matt to look over these anyway because it's localization based stuff. But got to be really careful of it all. I'm going to move this down here so I've got slightly more space. Right, let's give that a test. Okay, so not happy with me. Could not find variable unit option text B. Well, instead, let's just make text literal. Make literal text. Thing is, that must have been a variable in the other one. Wait, one sec, guys. Just gonna get a drink. Right. Okay, let's test this out. Real. Okay, I have to go. Looking forward to the free play Leafcutters. Thank you guys for the awesome, super fun game. Thank you very much. Thanks for stopping by. I'm off. It's a great game, loving it. Can't wait to see it fully realised. Yeah, we're all looking forward to seeing it fully realised. We'll get there. We will do. I've got lots of ideas that we want to get in by the end. Some ideas that we probably won't have time to get in. We'll see. And of course, the game's very fluid. I think it's getting input on our getting input from you guys on the game as we go has been vital to getting the game to the point that it is now. I think with player input, the game's gone from all right to great. Don't want to say formic level setup. I didn't mean to change anything on that if I did. I don't think we did. I possibly moved something around slightly. Whatever I do, don't save that. Okay, so let's have a look. Oh. Interesting. Okay, there's some sort of bug going on here where the tooltip text of the mages hasn't worked. Oh, I know what's happened. I've set the tooltip text of the whole box rather than the unit options on the major. Yeah, so they haven't got a target, so it's targeting self. That's why we test things. Nearly worked. Hi, Davey. I don't know if you remember, but about 4 years ago or so now, when time flies, I went on a development meetup that you hosted in Liverpool. Oh, right, so you're one of the chaps that came to one of those. Chris Brady. I was looking to recruit a team to make a huge multiplayer RPG dungeon crawler. We could have a catch up at some point. Just hit us up on the. We've got a forum. It's probably the best place to chat to me. So if you just go to forum.slugdisco.com, sign up to that, and then I'm easy enough to find. Just contact me there. I'm always checking that. I do remember those meetups. I don't remember individual people. Yeah, because particularly ones that came once. There was a few that came multiple times, but quite often, some people just came once, and then it's hard to remember names like from years ago like that. Okay, so what was I doing? Let's have another check. So, Leafcutter. Cool. Okay, so the the tooltip's definitely working. That's taunt. That's stun. However, something's gone wrong here, as in the actual tooltip widget's not coming up. Let me just double check the tooltip widget, what that's set up to do. Maybe this has always been broken. Oh, there is a tooltip widget thing. Alright, we're going to have to dig into this a little bit, I think. What have I done wrong? If I don't set that, did it work? Or has this always been broken? Okay, so somehow changing the tooltip text seems to have broken the tooltip widget. That's a bit annoying. Nope. Yeah. Not quite sure what's happened there. Either way, I'm not going to dwell on it because this one might take me a while to figure out, so I'm just going to jot it down. Changing tooltip text. Breaks tooltip widget. Freeplay unit option. So I'm not going to dwell on it. Yeah. I say find me on the forum. That's definitely the easiest place to have a catch up. Okay, so with that in, we can now select Leafcutters. So when we click start the level, which is this massive thing here, so that's the colours, colony species. So let's have a look for references to this. Here we are. Here it is. Okay, add a new one. Okay, so this is an enum. Oh no, we do actually. If this isn't an e-species enum, which I suspect it is, they'll be in there. Leafcutter. So I want to follow whatever wood ants do, really. Looks like they go and join over here. Yeah, all good. Leafcutter update's been quite intense, but if it was 4 years ago, then that was probably that would have been whilst we were still deep in the development of the initial build as well. So a lot has changed since then. Is the truth. Okay, so I think... So this is the Freeplay setup, which I spelt wrong when I first set it up, so it's replay setup. I imagine colony species is in here somewhere. Maybe it's not. Maybe that's part of another thing. So it sets the temp species. So if we have a look for references to temp species, make player setup. So that'll be where this is coming in. So it's making a player setup, adding it to the colony setup. Okay, so I'll assume that that's just going to be stored. We might need to come back to this if my test doesn't work. But we're going to have to go into the code now. So prepare to see lots of code. And I think I need to look in, before I bring up the code, I'm just going to check out the files I need. Which I think is going to be the game mode for it. Source, game structure. I think it will be Freeplay game mode. But I guess we'll see. Okay. Time to bring you guys in. One sec. There we go. There we go. Right. Oh, those early demos. You can still download those demo levels. They're we actually just updated the demo as well. It's got like a surface level in it. So if anyone in the chat's looking for another level to play, go download the demo from IndieDB. It's actually got a separate level in. It's not got audio to it, and it's quite basic, but it's actually quite good. Compared to what you might think. Okay, so we're in Freeplay game mode. I'm having a look at it. I need to look for where the species is looked at. This looks like it. Okay, so these are the setups. I need to add an else if here. Elsefy. I think that was the worst attempt to type else if I've ever made. Okay, so basically it's there's another consideration here we're going to make as well, is that the Leafcutter Queen is significantly larger than any of the other queens. In the levels we've just tunneled out an extra set of tiles. I think we're going to have to do exactly the same here, but it's going to have to be done. It's going to have to be done. It's going to be slightly more complicated. It's been going pretty well. The as you stress levels. The further you get into your game development and releasing it, and that the more stuff piles up and piles up. Okay, so I need to. These need to be. I just copy these from Unreal Engine. Give me a sec. I'm just grabbing the Leafcutter stuff. So what is it? Leafcutter Colony Queen. Copy reference. Back into Visual Studio. All right, I'm just going to shove this down here for a second, and then get the other one as well. Worker. So I need the worker as well. They're the Leafcutter miners, I believe. Yeah. Yeah, they are. Okay. So I think basically I just need to copy the whole thing apart from that _C. I need to keep that. So that for the queen. Paste that there. That for the miner. Paste that there. Okay, is there any other setup I need to consider here? Well, let's look for more references to the wood ants. They're definitely the see. This is the Formicarium colony setup. Yeah, so that's if it's not. This is if it's not a Formicarium. Okay, so player. This is the player colony. We set up the species first. I'm guessing I'm going to have to add something in here for Leafcutter as well. It's just Leafcutter max upgrade level. I'm guessing that's if it hasn't been set up, if it's not been run before. Okay, so that was a good thing to catch whilst we had it. Okay, so these are the individual species setups. So we need one of these for Leafcutter. I'm going to copy the wood ant one, and I'll just and we'll edit it from there. what the species thing was before? Oh, it's the class. That was just setting the class. Yeah, of course. So this is just turning on the various ones. So Leafcutter, Medea and Major need turning on. Shall I turn on Army Out Major just for a laugh? So this will be Leafcutter variant. Right, so that looks like all the references to Wood Ant. I think that's all the references to Wood Ant in here. So should we see what that does? Don't hold out much hope. Either way, I'm compiling now. Yeah, I'll come back to chat whilst it's compiling. It's been a long journey. I think it's been interesting to compare notes, so to speak. I'm very interested to hear what you did. Still doing for marketing. I can give you I can throw you a few marketing hints anyway. Imgur is actually good for marketing. If you wanted to have a look at we've made a few posts on Imgur and they seem to go down very well. As long as you're honest with them and work hard on what you're visually showing and saying, it tends to go quite well on Imgur. What else? Streamers. Working with streamers. Imgur. Yeah. I murdering that word. Yeah, I think it's pronounced Imgur, isn't it? Yeah. Streamers are fantastic, and what we actually find with streamers is, or at least initially we found with them, is if you make demos available on certain websites, they will pick up the demos. The small ones will pick up the demos anyway, and that kind of bubbles up to the top. That takes a while, and then by the time you've been noticed by them properly, they're then at some point they'll be contacting you. Even big ones will start contacting you. There probably are two main sources of marketing, really. The ones that have consistently worked out well. It's a funny one, marketing. There's a whole thing with when you launch a game as well, that you've got to get yourself up there on Steam. But you can also start building hype on Steam a long time before by setting up a game page as like a coming soon page. I think we had a coming soon page for a good year before we actually launched. Don't know if you're supposed to do that, but we did. And we're still in early access. But once you press that launch button on Steam, you get thrown into the top of certain lists. And if you make sales from that, that's when you get noticed and get risen up and go up in top sellers and top recent and that sort of thing. There's kind of crucial moments there as you launch. As you launch a game, and there's things you can do to help that along. So if you tie it in with a post that goes well on social media or Imgur, certain areas of Reddit you're allowed to post in, although quite a few of them are quite strict about self-marketing. And Reddit's got an overall self-marketing thing, so you can't just self-market, you have to interact. something like 10% of your posts are allowed to be marketing. We're still compiling at the minute. Just having a quick look at social media. I can link you to an image post that did well with the Leafcutter release. We spent pretty much half a day putting this post together just to get it right. Oh, we've compiled. Okay, so I'm basically going to try and start a Leafcutter colony in Freeplay. Oh, great. Look at that. They've broken. I'll write that down. Matt's been making changes to certain things, and I think me compiling that is brought in Matt's changes, which are clearly not quite working. He's been doing it so because German words are quite a lot longer, or German paragraphs are quite a lot longer than English ones. So he's been working on the localization of that. So issues with Freeplay. Although that may well be just a compile problem, so I'm not going to worry about it too much. Let's just start. Okay. Oh, give the colony a name. Test. Yay. Okay, so that'll take a while to sort. So let's find the image post. It's hard to find it. It's funny. I'll be able to find it via company chat. Type it in. That is the one. Okay, so this looks like it's going all right, eh? Apart from the obvious queen size issue. God, my FPS is tanking. Okay, so there's a couple of things wrong with this already that I'll come back to in a minute. Yeah, need to put some thought into it. But I'll explain what in a moment after I post this. Image post. Oh, Mike beat me to it. Well done, Mike. Anyway, moving on. Okay, so I'll explain what was wrong there. There's a couple of things that I hadn't took into account. So firstly, leafcutter queen tiles are not the same as every other species in the game's queen tiles, which is a shame because they're pre-set up in the levels. So if I have a look at Freeplay, some dunes I believe we're playing, we'll see that they're pre-set up, and I need to come up with a way to change that. You don't see the loading dialogues that come up, but just trust me, the level's loading at the minute. Right. Okay, so we're on the level. Press play. Oh look, graphical defect. Can't get to the eggs because the egg sack's in the wall. Oh, they've managed it though somehow. They've managed to get some. Okay, so we need to change all these tiles for leafcutter tiles and dig out all the tiles around that. So that's the plan. That's the plan. Now, I believe we have a queen spawn point on each one. Queen start point. Now, the question is, I think they're always bang in the middle, so I can use that. I should be able to use that to get the tile. I need to find the point in the code where the queen is spawned on that point, then get the tile directly below that point, get all the tiles around that, which I believe Liam built a function in for with the AI, change those tiles into leafcutter tiles, worker tiles, queen tiles rather than normal queen tiles, then get all the tiles around those tiles. On Slug Disco forums, I'm just John Slug Disco. You just find me on there. Okay, so this is going to be a little bit tricky. We'll get there. We'll get there. Right, where is the queen spawned? I believe we're going back into the code. Temp queen class. So let's have a look where temp queen class is used. Here. What is this? Start colony at tile grid. So I need this bit of code here. So this is it spawning the queen. So I want to get the tile that's directly below it. think something called line trace. There's something called line trace for actors. See you later, Davey. Because I basically want to look. I'm only looking for a certain type of actor. I'm looking for a tile. I know how to do this in the engine. It's looking in the Kismet library. Right, so this is a line trace that just sits inside actor. Trace array against the components of this actor. Don't think that's what I want. There's a place in the code I've done this before. I believe resources do it. There we are. It's just if we do it from get world, it's probably the simplest way of doing it actually. So I can either have line trace single channel, object type, or profile. It's profile. Trace array against the world using a specific profile. Not sure what that one is. To be fair, I should just be able to do it against statics, so I'll just do it with object type. This will be the simplest thing for me to do. Okay, so f hit result. I need to create one. Have a look in resource again. Just bring these in. Okay, so start point needs to be where's the queen start point? There it is. The end trace. Not sure what these are about. I don't think I need them. Basically, I'm going to start with start point there. Move on to the end point is going to be start with the new start point. Then yeah, minus 100 down. That should be fine. Maybe. Maybe. We will see. Okay, so there's our hit result. Next, start. End. Collision query params. Let's see what I've done with that. I think I can probably just change that to static. But there should be nothing between the queen start point and the tile. There shouldn't be anything there. The queen start point should be pretty much on top of the tile. We'll see. There's a slight chance that the start point, that this line trace might start on the tile itself and then just go straight through it because of that. But we'll see when we're running the tests. Okay, so temp hit. So first of all, if temp hit. Hang on, no, just do this. And that returns a bool anyway. So basically if it hits something, try and cast what it hits to a UG tile. If what it hits is a UG tile, set the tile function. Right, so first of all, I'm just going to check if I can do it with one. We'll start small and then we'll expand out. You know, I've just thought of something that we've missed when we were setting up the colonies before. Oh no, maybe it will work. Maybe that will work. I didn't really pay attention to whether... Okay, I think compiling may have had some adverse effects. I'm gonna restart the engine. I'm gonna run it through. I'm gonna run it from here. but I'm going to wait till the engine's properly closed first. I'm going to partly because so I can debug, I can set breakpoints in the code then. So if this doesn't work. But before I do that, I wanted to change... Oh no, it's fine. I think Leafcutters should start with some food, by the way, because they haven't got... Things aren't as easy for them. Let's get back to that later anyway. There's a few things that are going to have to be set up specifically for Leafcutters, so... It's going to take several days, I think, to get this part of the engine done. I mean, this part of the playthrough done. Playthrough? Getting it going. Okay, so I'm just running the engine from C++ now, so I can set breakpoints. Whilst I'm doing that, I'm just going to get a quick coffee and eat something very, very rapidly. This will take a few minutes to happen, so back in a few minutes. Looks like the engine's nearly opened. Whew, right. Okay. So, just gonna have a look at our list again. Whilst the engine's booting. So we've got this. We're still on the first one now. It's not an easy one to do. Quite a few things to consider there. Get that up loading. Other things. Yeah, so the landmarks are going to come up next. Alright, we're loaded now, so let's get back to it. Okay, so we're basically looking to see if the middle tile becomes a that looks promising to me. Okay, there's something else to note down is the Leafcutters need beach versions of the tiles. All Leafcutters need tile beach versions. But yeah, there we are. That totally worked. Now I need to use that as a central point to get all of these tiles and then get all of these tiles. Now I know there is a function for it somewhere. But the question is, did Liam keep that function locked away into his AI functions, or did he open it up just in generic functions? Really, I think it should be on a tile grid. Maybe it is. Maybe it is. So I need to go back to Visual Studio. So where is our tile grid? Here it is. This could be trickier than I'd hoped. Right, let's have a look at the tile grid. Let's have a look at its its H file. There's all sorts of helper functions here, but I can't see any that does what we're after, which is to get the hexagonal shape of the room. Let me see if I can pull this information out somewhere. I know this code is in our code somewhere. In fact, I can probably hunt it down by looking in Liam's AI code. Bots, actually. I think they've just got some helper functions. Be in here somewhere. Central tile. Ring level. This is exactly what I need. Shared bot construction functions. Right, I'm going to bring that in. Bots. Shared bot construction functions. And the function is called return hex tiles. There's actually a function that I think he could have used that he hasn't done here called flatten tile, which doesn't dig a tile out, it just flattens it. I'm not gonna use this. I'm instead gonna just use this. think I can do it more efficiently. So what is it called? Get hex. Return hex tiles. It's in. Okay, so central tile. Ring level. Assuming 1. Ring only. I don't know what that means. So false at the minute. Tile grid. Right. So what that'll do is that'll cycle through all the tiles that come up here. Now we want to turn them all into leafcutter chambers. So this, essentially. I think I know what ring only means now. I think it means the outer ring only. I guess we'll see. I'll give it a go anyway. Failed to copy then. Then we need to do it again for the next level ring, I think. See, I'm not sure. I'm not sure if this is going to do exactly what we need, but we'll find out. Right, need to compile that again. And see what we get. Slow process. But now that's done, we can have a chat. Okay. So what's coming next? Well, tomorrow I'm hoping to release the patch, which will fix a load of bugs that came up. The worst of which is if you try and delete a major tile in the Formicarium, you actually get an infinite loop. And the reason behind that was that the resources weren't set up properly to give you the right resource back. In fact, it was set up to give you no resources back. And it tries to give you a resource, fails, and then tries again, because it's not got any class. It just does it forever. That's why people's computers have been crashing because of that. But I've put in a check now to stop the infinite loop. I'm amazed that worked so smoothly. Ah, I've set these to worker chambers rather than queen chambers. Rather than queen chamber. So yeah, that's my bad. I'm assuming that's what I've done. Yeah. Okay. Okay, so that worked. That totally worked. I don't think there's anything else I need to do there. Okay, well let's compile it and make sure the queen chambers actually work, and then we can actually move on. I'm going to keep going for another half an hour. I think I'll call it a day at 2:30 UK time. So another half an hour, and then and that'll do for now. I'm gonna start streaming more regularly. I'm just gonna do some streams that are unannounced to start with, like this one. And then if I find myself falling into a regular pattern, we'll do some more announced streams. So I'll announce it on Steam and whatnot. So, but I don't want to start bringing people in from there if we can't get things off the ground regular. Things all change when you become a father or a mother. Right, so that should now be Leafcutter Queen Chambers. Chambers.
This nest may be small, but given a chance, it will grow to become a sprawling underground city.
Okay, so that's right. I may as well turn the game audio on for you. Oh no, it doesn't actually seem to be working. Well, never mind. You just have to believe me that there's some music playing at the minute. Okay, so clearly here we've got an issue because we've got a food drop-off chamber, but not the proper Leafcutter chamber stuff. This will be the begin plays, one running before the other is what it'll be. So I'm going to have a quick look at Tug of War widgets and we'll see what we can do about it. So Tug of War widgets is our mega UI thing. It's kind of historical in that we put a lot of things into the same UI. As you see, it looks quite jumbled, and you'll see the various stuff from in the game, and these just get hidden. Really, they should be in separate UIs, but you live and learn, eh? Okay, so these are the leaf drop-off chambers. I'm looking for where it's set up. Here's the setup. So where is this called from? My guess... Yeah. So it's just called in the construction script of this, and the issue will be is that the construction script is always tricky to deal with. The construction script is looking at stuff on the tile grid that hasn't yet been set. Now, there's actually something in the Leafcutter, not Leafcutters, in this, because we've had this issue multiple times. It keeps coming back. We're gonna be wrestling with it forever. Something's not right though. No, because this is running. This is. This is setting up the correct buttons. So, yeah, something's not right here. Ah, we do have tick boxes for it. Oh, there we go. This is going to be much simpler than I thought it was going to be. So leaf drop-off and refuse chamber need to be turned on, and food storage needs to be turned off. Back to the code. To find where they get set again. Here it is. Here it is. In fact, I'd have probably made sure these trigger before any of the begin plays trigger. So you can do that in the game mode because that's where everything's decided. That's probably that, actually. Compile it again, check it works. Then I think the initial stuff for the leaf cutters is in. Now, we've got a choice next. We can either work on the leaves for them, so the landmarks where the leaves will be, or we can work on the the saving and loading of the Leafcutter colony. Both need to be done. In fact, I could definitely argue that doing the saving and loading is going to be pointless until we've got the landmarks in place. So it's probably worth doing the landmarks first.
The queen has raised her first brood. These loyal subjects will lay the foundation of what could one day be a great subterranean empire. This colony must remain small for now. Food is too scarce to support greater numbers.
Unfortunately, there's no way of us getting any food. What I'm going to do is I'm going to dig to the surface and then save the free play level at this point. Because then rerunning it will have the surface open. There's spiny devils at least. I don't spot any of the others. Jumping spider, harvestman. Rove beetles. I'd say, where's the praying mantis? But they don't show up on the minimap, so there's one. It's already dead. And they don't move around much either. So they're actually pretty hard to find. Interestingly, I was saying things aren't showing up as food on the minimap, but that's because I'm leafcutters, so food is leaves. However, corpses are still showing up as food, so that's something I need to address. Another note for me to come back to. Okay, anyway. Freeplay colony saved. Okay, so now we need to look into doing the landmarks. Now, I'm not sure how well... Oh, I actually haven't had the game up for a while. Sorry, you just missed me zooming around the surface. Wasn't anything particularly amazing. Okay, so with the landmarks, I really don't know how well this is going to go. This might be really tricky. But there's all sorts of systems that combine to make these landmarks work. It's probably good if we take a really simple landmark and work with that. Fish isn't actually that simple. Infestation is very simple. Alternatively, I can just make a new class derived from something else. So what should we call this? We should call this... So I want a shoot landmark and a plant landmark. Let's just call them small leaf. Small leaves and plants. I'm just going to start with leaves. Okay. So first things first, I'm going to have a quick look in the fish landmark and see what happens at the beginning. So event setup, restore event setup. Okay, I think I need to make an event setup. Which I think happens the first time the landmark is made. Are y'all going to implement weather effects like rain to regrow leafcutter food sources? That was actually one of the suggestions that came up in the forum when we were looking at Freeplay stuff. It's not on my initial list of things to do because I think it's a little bit more tricky. It probably won't make it into this first pass of Freeplay, but I think we should implement weather effects with the rainforest. So I think there should be rain in the rainforest, basically. So I reckon it'll make it there eventually. At the minute, I'm just going to implement the leaf landmarks the same way other landmarks work. So they'll appear and disappear when the player's not looking at them, just to make things simple. Okay, so patches of leaves. Can't remember where they come from, what they are. But I think Matt set them up to be quite simple and dynamic. Might be in here. No, it's not in that. Yeah. Let me have a look for mystery plant. Where is that? That's in Blueprints, World Construction, Ecuador. It's probably in there. I do wish you put them in resources. See, these might not actually be set up to work this way. They might require quite a bit of work to get them going. So they're the climbable forest leaf. So I'm looking for like Ferris cluster or something like that. So if I drag that onto the world, undo. So that's definitely what I'm looking for. Ferris Latif climbable cluster. We're certainly gonna need to sort stuff out with the randomization of it, because the last thing we want is it to re-randomize each time you open the level or load the level. We'll see what that does. I don't think the climbable clusters are set to save at all at the minute. Because they're not, I don't need to think about that. Let's just see what this does. See if we can actually just do that. So this is Leaves landmark. Where was my colony based? If I play the level, it should let us know. That's why I'm here. So I'm just going to shove one there for now. We'll see if that works. That looks like a yes. It spawned a very limited amount. We're going to have to go into the proper setup of it now as soon as well, which will be in the... I'm pretty sure that's going to be tomorrow's task. He's coming up with the rest of this landmark stuff. Well, we'll see. I'll see what time I've got tomorrow. The issue... the issue with tomorrow is I've also got to produce the bug fix builds as well. Should check that they're actually climbable. Oh, that's interesting. That's another bug. It's going to need to be addressed. Okay, so they do appear to be working. I need to jot down this double queen chamber bug. Yeah, so resource build. Looks like it's starting to work. We're starting to get our leaf cutters going. Okay. So there's some serious considerations coming up, mainly with saving and loading. So at the minute, the landmark doesn't restore. It's not set to restore yet. So it's literally that. There's a separate function for restoring. So event restore. And this is going to be tricky. Especially as I'm working with the Ferris lattice thing that is that's not my creation. And I need it to restore to the same extent that it creates it. So I'm going to need to have a look at the climbable forest lattice. I'm going to have to adapt it a little bit. So construct a group of plants. Basically, that I need to turn that off. I think what I'm going to do for a start is I'm going to add a bool in, which will be available on construction. She's spawning. It's a bit funny. This is going to take some thought. It's not just simply disabling spawning. It will disable spawning, but it will also cause it to load. It's a bit of a funny one because with my fish landmark, what I actually do is it finds the harvestable fish in the landmark actors. That's a bit funny, really. Mark actors. Just literally setting the fish. It must be doing stuff elsewhere. Yeah, it must be doing stuff elsewhere. Spawning creatures and stuff. There'll be certain things built into landmarks. That's going to require a bit of a deep dive, which I'm not going to start today. Or at least if I do, I'm not going to start it on stream. I think I'll wrap the stream up there, guys. As this next bit's probably not going to be particularly interesting to watch anyway. I'll see how far I can get with these landmarks. Right, I will try. I can't promise I'll be on tomorrow, but I'll try and stream again tomorrow because I want to make this more regular. Now I can. Now we're in a patch of Freeplay update. But we shall see. In the meantime, though, thanks for watching and asking your questions. I'm glad people are receiving the Leafcutter update very well, and I look forward. I look forward to progressing this with you guys. If you want to leave any feedback on what's been done today or anything to do with the game, please, the forum's the best place, definitely, because that in the forum we can interact with you and we can discuss things properly rather than any other methods. So thanks very much, and I will see you next time.